Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Hangout on Air. My name is Tony and I'm with the Google AdWords support team here in Dublin, and I'm joined by my colleague Elle, and today we're going to talk to you about remarketing, which is part of this month's series on campaign starter kits. So really excited to get going. If you're watching this on the Google Plus page, you'll notice we have a Q&A feature to the right-hand side. Please feel free to put in your questions as we go along, and we'll do our best to get to them at the end. If you're watching this as a recorded event on YouTube, you can then skip ahead to the sections you're most interested in by looking at the description box and clicking on the timestamps. I'm really excited, and we're going to get started here. Elle, would you mind telling us a little bit about remarketing? When is it useful for advertisers to use remarketing?
Of course, yeah, Tony, yeah, and thanks for having me again, of course. Remarketing is an often used campaign feature. It's a really great feature of AdWords. It allows you to re-engage with your customers, people who came to visit your site. Maybe they did become customers and you want to sell them other things that are very closely related. They're probably interested in more of your products. Or maybe they shopped around and haven't quite made that decision yet to purchase an item from you, and it helps you re-engage with them.
Perfect. Well, Elle, tell us, how do advertisers set this up?
Sure, yeah. I guess the easiest thing to do would be to go to a demo. So let's just go to the demo account that I have open here. So when you log into AdWords, you'll come into your home section. So the first thing we do need to do is go into campaigns. Now, for remarketing, you do need to add what we call a tag to your site, Tony. So your web developer would do this, or if you can edit the HTML, you can do it yourself. It's a simple copy and paste, but what we'll do first is show you where to get the code from your AdWords account that you need to put on your site. So once you come into campaigns, if you find the shared library here in the left, and then underneath this section that we're seeing here, audiences, this is where we're going to click view. Okay, now in our test account here, it's actually going to take us straight into a couple of the audiences we have already. Now, for most of you out there, if you haven't done this yet, you'll get a little pop-up in this section which will walk you through how remarketing works and what you're about to do, just to let you know about the code you're about to get. But if you see this screen, eventually you'll click view tag details in the top right corner. All right, and in here you can see the pop-up is already telling us that we haven't installed the tag on our test website. But if we go on to setup, there's a little section here where I can actually have a look at the site. And if I need to send it over to my web developer, which I would because I'm not the developer for my site, I can actually enter their email address in here. And actually, it's really easy to send the email. I can just click send email there, and my developer will get the instructions. That's
perfect. Thank you very much for that, Elle. And the great thing about that feature is, at any stage, you can go back in there and you can get that tag.
Exactly. Yeah. Not only that, whenever you come back to this screen, you'll notice, the same error we're getting. Once the tag is installed, you'll get a green tick, and it should say, yeah, we detected the tag on your site, or we detected it and there are some issues, and it'll help you actually troubleshoot all of that.
That's really helpful stuff. Thanks for that, Elle. Well, could you tell us about how we could best use remarketing? What sort of strategies would you suggest for using it?
Yes, we briefly covered a little bit in the introductions are re-engaging with customers who've been to your site but haven't quite made that decision to buy yet. So we know from our research that customers need to visit a couple of times before they make a final decision, and that's where remarketing really comes in. It's about re-engaging your audience, having your ad displaying to people are already somewhat interested in your brand.
That's perfect. Thanks, Elle. Well, some of our advertisers, you may have noticed, if you're going to try and set up remarketing, that they may have noticed that actually there's something called dynamic remarketing. Could you tell us a little bit about that and when a certain advertiser might decide to go with dynamic remarketing?
Sure, yeah. I think what we should do is maybe go through a campaign setup where we'll see the pop-up for dynamic. We'll set up a standard remarketing campaign first, and then we'll say a little bit about what that dynamic element means while we're doing that. Does that sound all right?
That sounds great. I'll take us through it.
Great. So if we come back to the test account, in the campaigns page, you want to be in the campaigns tab right here. So you may be in ads, keywords, somewhere else usually. So we come back up to campaigns and click this red button, plus campaign. And from the menu, we're going to choose display network only because remarketing is really for the display network. So once we come in here, let this load for us, and we usually rename the campaign to something we'll remember, so remarketing, just to keep it simple.
Very unique, very original.
Very original, exactly, yeah. And, all right, okay, remarketing one, there you go. That's a
Thank you.
Got a unique one. And there's actually a selection here on the right that says remarketing. I'm choosing the campaign type as remarketing because what will happen is the AdWords interface will start helping me set up a remarketing campaign specifically. So that's a nice little feature to have. Once I click on that and determine my budget, now this is the pop-up I think you were referring to, the dynamic remarketing section.
Yeah.
Now, where we said remarketing ads help you re-engage with your customers, dynamic is really the best thing for online stores, e-commerce sites, people that sell directly online. Dynamic ads help you create really rich, specific ads for your customers. And we actually saw clients in our research that had 450% higher click-through rates with dynamic ads than standard campaign. And the reason is they look at the types of products that we went on and tailor the image ads directly to those products. So they're very, very specific to your customers and the kind of items they looked at.
That's perfect.
For the time being, because we're not tied into Google Shopping yet or Google Merchant Center, we're just going to uncheck this box. But if you are interested in doing that, I believe that's something we're going to be covering in the coming week.
Yeah, that's perfect, Al.
Okay. Ignoring that for the time being, I guess, then we save and continue. I guess the last thing to say here is the next screen we're going to create an ad group and a bid. And we've got the remarketing list that we saw in the earlier audiences section, which we can add simply by clicking on these buttons here.
Perfect. That's great. Well, look, thank you very much, Al, for talking us through that. And I suppose the next step is then really having the ads that you're going to remarket and making sure you have those set up correctly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the next screen here is already helping me. It's asking me for a text ad. I can, of course, choose image ads or use the display ad builder as well.
That is perfect. Thanks a lot for that, Al. Look, that was really, really informative. I hope that all of you find it helpful. Thanks for that, Al. And thanks to all of you for joining us. Do make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is where we post all of our videos and our Hangouts. So please, subscribe to that and stay up to date with all of the latest videos. Our next Hangout on air will be on shopping campaigns, which I was referring to just earlier there, and that'll be part of our month series on campaign starter kits. Don't forget, if you ever have any questions at all to do with this topic or anything else to do with AdWords, you can actually reach us through phone support, 24-hour chat support, or any other social media platform, and we'd be more than happy to help with your query. Thanks again for joining us. We hope you had a great time, and stay tuned for the next Hangout.